What if fine watchmaking was a 21st century invention? What would it look like? Whatever product, you always have to think of the user. We want to create the most intuitive watches in the world. When you take a fine watch, they are usually designed starting from the movement, because that's the core for a watchmaker. We start the opposite way. We start with the user. When you have this type of approach, you can only end with a completely different way of looking at fine watchmaking, basically.
Once again, Benoi. Benoi. Hello again.
Hi.
This is the one that I think is my favourite because the colour. I do like it. But I saw you and I thought, and I've met you before, and I really like what you say. So tell me about Ressence this year and
Yes.
Watches and Wonders.
Sure. So the piece that you just talked about, the Type 1M, the graphical aspect of it, that is really at the core of it. And but we also use color not only for the aesthetical aspect, but also for the more functional aspect of it. Because color is actually a very efficient communication vector.
Yes, it is.
And so very often it's not used for this, but when you do it properly, you get a lot more efficient way of communicating an information by using color.
Yeah. And I suppose how I spoke at the beginning, I was drawn to this one, the Type 1 round, because the colours appeal. It's literally, without me knowing anything further about the watch, that colour is appealing. Mm-hmm. And so I think you're right. I view all these sorts of all the watches here as mechanical artwork.
Yes.
I know that so much design and engineering goes into them, and I know that the Type 3 with the oil-filled movement, I know that's difficult to achieve.
Sure, of course.
It's
very complex.
Yeah, and I think you've even got your own special formula of oil.
Yes, we have a specific oil we use because the oil should be very liquid.
Yes.
Should be completely transparent like water.
Yeah.
Should be ultraviolet, non-sensitive to ultraviolet light.
Yeah.
Should be non-aggressive to the luminova.
Yes.
So there are many aspects that we need to take into consideration when we choose the oil.
Yeah. These three watches are so good, and Watches and Wonders, I have to say, this is lovely. Mm-hmm. I'm very impressed with the venue and a quick look at this booth. It's really nice. Benoi,
yes.
Once again,
it's
lovely to see you again, and
thank you for your support.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So, what we have here, what a treat! Ressence. Straight away, my eyes fall upon the Type 1 round, and a very kind gentleman called Fred is in the background, and he's probably more knowledgeable about these watches. But Fred, tell me about Watches and Wonders and these watches that you have here.
Absolutely, and thank you very much for passing by our booth. We're really excited to have you here. Ressence, the name stands for rebirth, the renaissance of the essential, of the essence. And so that is what we've been doing since 2010 to actually bring the essence of time and remove anything that is not essential for telling time. And so we started by removing the crown. You might notice that there's no crown on the watch.
Yes.
You will set in wine with a lever in the back.
Yes.
You will notice that we don't have two centrally mounted hands because that's not the only way to tell time. We tell time with these disc and sub-disc that orbit around each other.
If I can stop you there, Fred, just for a moment, because what you've just said matches this watch. Because straight away, when I see this design aesthetic, it makes me think of Ressence straight away. And I think of Benoi actually as well because of his personality. But I see that looks, without you knowing anything, I look at these dials and I think that's a Ressence, and this is the Type 1 square. Anyway, I interjected and stopped you.
But absolutely no worries, and it is indeed our DNA to have these disk and sub-disk that orbit around each other is our DNA. And so if I put it in motion, because that's how we like our watches to be, is you will see the watch moving everywhere. So how do you read that, you might ask? So here it is 7:00, so the minutes are around. Seconds are here, and these are the hours. And the red one here indicates to us the day of the week. Saturday and Sunday, a bit different than the rest.
But do you know, it's almost a little bit like, if I can just take that, I'm going to place it on my wrist, I won't put it on. But for some reason, and I've said to other watch, I'll just, how good looking is that on the wrist, just like that? And straight away you would think to yourself, that looks cool. The colours are delightful. The contrasting red, yellow, green against the white and the blue outer part. But maybe I'm wrong saying this, but for some reason, if I had this, I wouldn't be in a rush to know what all the features are, because having it on your wrist like that is a little bit like having a piece of mechanical artwork.
Absolutely. We actually amuse ourselves by calling it mechanical screens. They're technically a mechanical screen. But as function always precedes form for us, the colors we've selected here are not just serving the design purpose, they're serving the format purpose. And so the contrast of the colors is what will give you the right indication at first.
And this reminds me of Dubai last year. And because the colour is sorry, is this Dubai last year?
This was Geneva Watch Days.
The Geneva Watch Days, yes.
Watch Days,
and I think I saw it again in Dubai. Yes.
Absolutely.
Look at the profile.
So the one you're wearing is a Type 3, which has oil in the upper part of the dial. So what you see is mechanical discs that orbit around each other, like on the Type 1. But they are immersed in oil. And so that's the second thing for a brand. Yes, we are a very graphical and colorful brand, telling time in its essence, but we're also bold engineers, bringing oil into a watch. And these discs and the separation between the bottom part, which has the movement, and the top part that has the oil and the disc.
From an engineering point of view, I know that doing that, having an oil, and I think it's a special oil, that's very difficult. But I can see why you've done it, because it gives you such an interesting luster. The way that the dial is underneath the crystal.
Correct.
And when you find out that there's oil in between there, it's so interesting.
To be specific, oil is only in Type 3 and Type 5. All the other watches don't have oil. The Type 1 square, the Type 1 round do not have oil at all. But we wanted to bring that feeling of pebble and playful on your wrist onto a Type 1. But we didn't add oil, we just curved the dial, so that it gives that impression of always going on. And so the last thing is that this subtle, discreet engineering and essential way of telling time brings you to quiet luxury. It's a watch that stands out but doesn't show off. It's that fine trick between showing off your status, which we don't want to be, and showing off your mindset, which is exactly what we want to do. And wearing a Ressence is sharing your mindset.
But I think you wear these for personal enjoyment. I'd be wearing this for personal enjoyment.
Absolutely, you should be wearing it for you and not for anybody else.
It's that is super. I think I'm going to end on a shot of this Type 1 round, because I think it's my favourite. That is super. Fred, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.